10 years. 10 years is a long time. As crazy as it is, that's how long it's been since my first movie came out. Today marks the anniversary. To celebrate, we'll be going back to the beginning. I'll be sharing never-before-seen footage and photos, as well as new cast interviews. So, without further ado, let's all go back to the year 2016. I am currently sitting in the chair that is in the set for the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Here's the fan, which works, of course. So yeah, this is basically the office in all of its glory. Finished today on July 10th, 2015. Before anything else, I remember diving headfirst into this project. My first experience with the franchise left such an impression on me that without even thinking, I started to make a movie about it at just 15 years old. About to film the very first sequence of the movie. It's amazing how much untapped potential Five Nights at Freddy's had at the beginning. Playing the game for the first time was such an amazing experience. When it was over, I just remember one thing above everything else. I wanted more. I wanted to know the full story. I also knew that the best way to see that would be in the form of a movie. I could practically see it in my head already. Imagine if we weren't confined to one room, with only a few glimpses of the animatronics. Imagine if we could actually see Mike Schmidt, get to know him, and know why he was working here.
So my name is Johan Robitaille. I played Mike Schmidt in all three movies of Five Nights at Freddy's, the fan film. So I wasn't very familiar with the whole Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. It was the director who introduced me to the subject matter, the lore, and the games. I thought that it was kind of interesting. I thought it was a good blend of like horror and a little bit of fantasy-ish kind of vibes. So I thought it was really interesting to kind of see that come to life in his movie.
Okay, good. Actually, I think this will be a good shot. Have a look.
It wasn't even a question. I wanted to see this movie so badly that I just decided to do it. And so, I got to live in the world of Five Nights at Freddy's for the next little while. I got to make the costumes of the animatronics, build the sets, and tell a fleshed-out version of the cryptic story from the game. Making this movie was just so much fun. It's like I took the series into my own hands and just made what I wanted to see, beyond the confines of the game.
We had a lot of fun making these things. They really remind me of the good times that I had with my brother of making these movies and kind of exploring that lore a little bit in our own way. I think one of my favorite days was when we did the final showdown with all of the animatronics. When we did a lot of the fighting stuff or a lot of the shots where the animatronics are chasing me down a hallway, or we had like some scenes with the doors and stuff like that. That was a whole lot of fun.
This whole movie was just such an amazing learning experience in general. I got to learn all kinds of stuff about construction, and being able to stand inside the office in a set that I built myself felt so rewarding and special after. I also learned how to sew, and I learned lots of stuff about costume making, which I've only been improving on with each movie. More importantly than anything else, this project was the first time that I really got to learn all the fundamentals of filmmaking. I'd never done a feature-length movie before, so despite the fact that I might have been young and made mistakes, this was the best possible foundation for anything that I would do after. You have to start somewhere, and this was it. It's been 18 months since I started production. The first shot I ever filmed was on January 9th,
2015. Today it is June 19th, 2016. It was not easy to make this.
I don't exaggerate when I say that the year that I spent making this first movie was one of the greatest years of my entire life.
Does that look good?
Yes, that looked good actually.
Alright.
Despite the amateurish final result, and despite the fact that it's aged a little roughly, it's a time capsule of when I was a teenager making my first movie, and that will be preserved forever.
My name is Emmanuel Aubin. I'm 26 years old. In Liam's first movie, I played Charlie, and in his latest movie, I played Vanessa/Vanny. So I first met Liam, I think, almost 10 years ago. We went to the same high school, and we had a mutual friend, and then after discussing more, he told me that there's a character that he needs someone to play, and then he asked me, and then ever since then, we've been just making movies together.
When I was in the last couple of months of production for the first movie, I started to have an idea. It was a big, scary idea, and if I went through with it, there would be a lot of work to do. It was something that in my heart, I knew I had to do. I had to make a sequel.
So, today we got one full scene done and part of another scene. We had to do the part where I am in makeup to play Springtrap, and the rest of the scene is going to be done tomorrow because we have time constraints. But it's like that with any movie production.
Following the release of Five Nights at Freddy's 3, which was possibly going to be the end of the series at the time, I'd started to think about what might happen after the events of the first movie. And so, even before the first movie was done, there was a cavalcade of new ideas that were brewing for the second one. I knew the main focus would be on the third game, and later when 4 was released, I was able to tie it all together by making the movie split into 2 distinct acts.
It's May 10th, and we got the plush trap scene done, and a bunch of other stuff with Michael. And yeah, we got so much done today. Honestly, I would say it's probably one of our most productive days. So I am partially in Nightmare Bonnie costume, and I'm gonna be going up into that window. That one right there.
For this movie, I got to make a lot of animatronics. The first movie had the main 4. This time around, the total number was 9. Before we even filmed, the house became a giant workshop, where slowly but surely we pieced together costumes and puppets. The first I focused on was, of course, Springtrap. While all the others could wait for the later filming days, he needed to be finished first. We also focused on building Balloon Boy, who we intentionally made very gross looking. Given how infamous he was as a character, this was particularly amusing to us. Building the office for this movie was a dream come true for me. Five Nights at Freddy's 3 is my favorite looking game in the entire series. The office would fit in the same room as the first movie's set, only this time, instead of it being a small room with 2 corridors, it would be a large room with an L-shaped corridor surrounding it. We stocked up on stick-on tiles, took a bunch of measurements, and started bringing it to life.
From the point of view of the game, this is what you're looking at. So they go back and forth like this. So you have a maintenance panel here, and you can have like errors pop up on them. And yeah, it's not good if all 3 are, yeah, you might want to do something about that. Okay, yeah, here's the proper lighting.
Our new cameras?
Yeah, so if you press the keys, and they,
some of them are blank because we don't have that set put up yet.
yeah.
But we're gonna add a control to that later.
These drawings, both of us recreated them to be like as close to the game as possible. Even as far as the direction the tape is pointing. If you look closely in the game, you'll see it's exactly the same.
First, I was very nervous because before doing this project with Liam, I've never acted in front of a camera before. I was mostly nervous because I was his new friend, and I was nervous that I was possibly could have messed up the movie if I didn't do a good job. But luckily, Liam was super supportive and helped me just with everything. And yeah, I owe it a lot to him.
These are the first steps to studying things right.
Yeah.
Me and my family have always been obsessed with horror films. And the fact that I got a chance to play a normal character, and then after that, a bit of a twist, they turned out to be a psycho, I was super, super excited because I've never really acted in a scary role before. And it was just amazing. And I think I did it pretty well, hopefully.
The year that I spent making this movie would prove to be challenging in a lot of ways that I wasn't ready for. This movie was so much bigger than the last one, and so much more difficult to make.
Jaw. In face.
It pushed me to my limits. While making it, there was a real sense of finality to it all. So today is May 31st, 2017, and it is the last day of filming. So I'm just on my way to the party store, and I'm gonna get myself some stuff to celebrate later on when we're done filming. I knew there wouldn't be a third feature-length movie. However, I left the ending open for something to potentially happen after if ever I wanted to come back. Out of everything that I've made over the years, this movie is the one that I'm still the most proud of. The last time I did this was 2 years ago, and truth be told, I was thinking of doing this for a long time. I mean, since I finished the last one. I always meant for there to be a conclusion that was gonna touch on, the newer stuff. For 2 years, I was happy with the 2 movies. Even making one sequel was way more than I ever expected to do. It was now time to get back to reality and move on with my life. After a couple of years away from filmmaking, I really missed it. The door was still open, and I finally decided to go ahead with a smaller project. There was not enough story to make a full third movie anyways, so it lined up nicely as a short film that would specifically cover the 6th game. Making a short film was less expensive, faster to film, and was a totally new and different experience for me. Within about a week, we completed it all in a mad dash to the finish line. We did it all in secret, dropping a trailer out of nowhere with a release date of the following day. In the blink of an eye, the whole story was finally wrapped up as a trilogy. It would be many years before I would revisit Five Nights at Freddy's. I planned not to. Over the years, the franchise entered a new era, and at one point, an opportunity came up that allowed me to make a new movie. After making 3 movies that covered the games more generally, it was now time to focus on something a lot more specific. With the release of Help Wanted, we were introduced to Glitch Trap. I remember being frustrated back then because it looked like such a fun costume to make, but there was no movie to make it for. Then, later on, the DLC introduced us to Vanny, and we'd end up waiting 2 years to see her in the next game. I was under the impression that she was being set up as the new main villain of the franchise. I thought she'd be taking over William's position as his apprentice, and 95% of this story ended up happening off screen. Debatably, her character arc is kind of finished now. The Mimic is now the new main antagonist, so Vanny got kind of lost in all that commotion. That was when I made the decision. It was time for a new movie. I would fill in this missing piece of the story. This would be a smaller, psychological horror film that focused entirely on how Vanessa became Vanny. It also finally gave me the chance to bring Glitchtrap to the screen, and in a way, adapt Help Wanted. The first major decision was, of course, to bring back Emmanuelle. Her role was small before, and she did an incredible job, so it always frustrated me that she didn't get to do more. It would be the first movie that I'd make where she would take on the role of the main character.
I was freaking out because, again, in his past movies, I've only played a side character. Anytime I ever had self-doubt, he would always be like, you're doing good, everything is good. So that did help me out a lot. Definitely working with your friends, you feel more calm and more at ease than if you were to work with complete strangers. So I'm glad for my first ever main role, that I got to do it with him.
Going in, I knew it was important not to just copy what I did before. I took notes from the official series and decided that the most interesting way to make a new movie would be to simply start a new timeline. That allowed me to create the whole prologue sequence, where we'd see a new interpretation of both Mike Schmidt and William Afton.
I actually enjoyed my experience working on Shadow of Vanny a little bit more. Filming the first one at times, holding that kind of pressure of carrying the whole movie, I think was a little bit more difficult. I feel like he had a bit more anger, he had a bit more a drive to him. I think there was more of a purpose behind his motivations, so I thought that was a bit more interesting. I think that pretty much everything that people wanted to see in Mike Schmidt was put on display, so I think that it was quite fitting.
I think in any case scenario, Vanny will always be there. I don't even think just the mask and the costume itself, I don't think she would ever disappear. I think with a strong entity like her, she's never going to escape.
Do you think we'll ever see this story?
I sure hope so, and I sure hope I'm a part of it.